Hey guys, back to talk about some brass. Working on this new necked up 7 PRCW cartridge. So anyway, I've told you guys before, I start by turning my brass at different thicknesses. And here's what I did just last night. I turned 20 cases, and I know I've told you in the past, you start at, zero clearance, and go 1,000ths, 2,000ths, clearance inside the neck chamber. So I didn't go to that extreme with this particular cartridge, but I did do the test. The only reason I didn't start at zero is because in my 284, which is really close to this, 1,000ths was just too tight. So it's starting a little farther out, in other words, just to save myself some brass. So anyway, I think I'm at 2,000ths, 3,000ths, 4,000ths, 5,000ths. So I'm going to go fire form these things first. That's the first step. Turn the necks, I guess, is the first step, and get out 5 of each. Then I have to go fire form them, which I have to break in the barrel anyway, so I need to get approximately 100 rounds on the barrel. So I'm doing all this stuff while I'm trying to get my first 100 rounds on the barrel. So I'm going to go ahead and fire form these, and then the next step will be to go do a powder test with these. And then once I get a powder and it's starting to look like it's coming in a good little bit, then I'll take and I'll load up all 5, with that, whatever the weight of powder is that seems to be the best. And I'll just shoot 5 groups or 4 groups with these 5 shots. And whatever group's looking best, that's the one I'm going to turn all the rest of my cases to. So this is a really important step that most people just don't do it. They listen to this guy or they listen to that guy. Now I've had 2 F-class champions tell me what they turned theirs to. I think I can trust what they're telling me is true, that they're not lying to me or anything, because both of them told me pretty close to the same thing. But for me, it'd drive me crazy if I didn't actually go test for myself. I mean, I don't know what to say, but just test for yourself. You find things with your rifle, your chamber, your barrel, your everything you got is different than what they have. So even though the barrel might be chambered in the same cartridge, but you're still dealing with your own powders, everything's your own everything, primers, powders, bullets, the way you redo everything, the way you turn your necks, everything. It's just test for yourself to make sure you've got the proper clearance, because the worst thing I could do is turn 400 cases wrong. And you know how much brass costs nowadays. It's like, oh my gosh, you don't want to do that. With the very first step, you don't want to do it wrong. And then you have to go out and buy 400 more cases. And geez, what are these things, like $175 for 100? So, multiply that out, you're, whatever, $600 just in brass or something like that. So maybe 700, I guess, off the top of my head. But yeah, it's a lot of money, so you don't want to be wasting it. So sacrifice 20. Well, actually 5 of them are probably going to be just fine, and a couple of other ones I can always use them for ciders or whatever. You don't have to just throw them away. You can use them to warm your barrel up when you first get out there, for blow-offs, for ciders, whatever you want to call them, and get your barrel sighted, and then you can go to the rest of them. So I've always got maybe 15 or 20 of them that are the very first row of my box that I know what those are for, and then I go into the rest. So those are always just to sight in, warm up, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm doing. That's the first step in a new chamber for me, is to test the neck thickness. So that when I'm turning those things, I should tell you, I was out last night here working with these. So this is a new chamber for me. I've never done this particular one. And so these are 6.5 cases, and they're necked up to 7mm. So I wasn't sure how I wanted to do it. Do I want to turn them first, or did I want to neck them up to 7 first? And I've heard, of course, yeah, everybody you ask, they tell you something different. Oh, just do it at 6.5, it's fine. Oh, neck it up first. You got to neck it up first. And so I didn't know. So the first ones I did at 6.5, just to try it, and they worked fine. I didn't see any problem with it. The only problem is I guessed at the size mandrel, turning mandrel. And so it was just running too tight on my mandrel, and it was building up too much heat. I've got a lot of 7mm mandrels. So I thought, well, okay, I did the first 5 that way. I'm gonna neck up these next ones and just see how it worked. So I necked up the next 15 of them to 7, and I turned them that way. And it turned just fine that way too. If I had my preference, I would probably just do it at 6.5. You know, necking everything up and everything, and sometimes, you know, you can end up with run out and things like that. And I don't think I did with these. They came out pretty darn nice. So I'm just happy with the way it is at this point. So either way, 6.5, if you got the right size mandrels, I got the 21st Century 6.5 turning mandrels, and they're just too dang tight. I need like a 6.5 mandrel to bump it up just a little bit, you know, because it's running too tight on there, and I don't have the next size up 6.5 mandrel. So I've got plenty of the 7s. So I necked them up to 7, then I turned the next ones. So that stuff, y'all, you got to think about when you're doing all that. What's working? What do you have in your shop? What tools do you have? Well, I've got a lot more 7mm stuff than 6.5, so I got just enough 6.5 to get by. But like I said, I needed another size bigger, so I don't want to wait another week or two for that to come, or do I just want to go with the 7 so I can keep moving? So I necked them up to the 7. I might still order that next size up mandrel for 6.5, so later I could do it that way. I'm not sure. I'll think about it, but right now I'm doing it this way. Lots of stuff to think about. Always, all of these little hurdles to get over, and yeah, turning cases is one of those ones that, boy, you want to take your time. Don't get in a big rush. I mean, I think it took me about 3 hours just to do 20 last night, just because, you know, I want everything as close and nice as I can get, and I want everything really close. So it takes me a long time. And I've been looking at that new IDOT machine, you know, that supposedly you can slap them right through there, but talking with some guys, and that sounds like a whole nother can of worms. You got to get the perfect size shell holder to hold your brass just right, otherwise it makes worse cuts than just doing it the old-fashioned way. So it's another thing to look at. I haven't done it, so I don't know, but maybe I'll go that route too. A friend of mine's got one. I might borrow it just to try it first before I go pay $2,500 for something. So but we'll see how it goes. This way has always worked for me so far, so I'm going to start with this and see how it goes. So right on. Thanks, guys. Like and subscribe if you like the videos, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.